Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Sakey speaking. Again, I'd like to talk about the UN, the United Nations. A UN Agenda 2030 with its sustainable developments, because all we hear in New Zealand now is about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So everything, your council rates, the transport, hospital, education, infrastructure, it's all banking on the SDGs, all planned by the UN and agreed upon with the New Zealand government. These SDGs are going to take away the identification of New Zealand and its people. So what is Goal 1 of UN Agenda 2030? Goal 1 is to end poverty in all forms everywhere. So what they're saying is that we're all going to be living in a wonderful utopia. This means that centralised banks, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, control all finances. Goal 2, end hunger. Achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. How can you do that? They're looking at forestation, aren't they? Using farmers' land for forestation, getting them off their land, ruining communities, ruining the economic health of New Zealand. We're going to be on a downward spiral. So, of course, this means genetically modernised food. So this modified food will be produced by large organisations and they will control the food supplies. So how will Agenda 21 and UN Agenda 2030 affect the farmers of New Zealand? We already know that CO2, zero carbons bill, is right before us. The farmers have already marched on Parliament, and as Sully said, and quite rightfully so, it's going to affect all communities, not just the farming community, but for farmers it's going to be the end, because as farms are turned into forestry, the farmers are not needed anymore. There's no agriculture to look after, just a load of trees, and you can bring in a machine to manage those. And that's the way it is. And then we're going to have overseas investors investing in forestry. It's all about the new Green Deal, zero carbon, and green land grabs. So it's really going to affect the farmer, because they're looking at eliminating meat consumption, using pastures to grow wheat and corn, or trees, of course, to pay for the emissions, and soy for human consumption. Haven't you noticed the endless propaganda? It's not so long ago I saw on TV about someone eating insects instead of meat. Come on. So grazing livestock is listed as unsustainable in the UN's Global Biodiversity Assessment Report. In the same document, agriculture and private property are listed as unsustainable. All private property and water rights are directly out of the Sustainable Development Programme. They come in a wide variety of names to throw people off, such as comprehensive planning, growth management, smart growth, and so forth. Beware of those words, smart. Everything seems to be worded with smart. We've got our smart telephones, and a very fast, smart 5G rollout, which hasn't even been tested yet. We're going to be the testing ground like other countries are. So, smart growth and the rollout of 5G, smart cities, new energy, non-industrial hemp as a soil rebuilding environment, friendly way to provide a sizable portion of the nation's energy. They're failing to understand the crucial importance of restoring carbon-rich humus into the soil, depriving plants and human life of carbon. We cannot live without carbon. Carbon makes the trees green. Carbon makes the plants green. We exhale carbon. So life in New Zealand, as in other geographical areas of the world, is becoming seriously unhealthy for humans, plants and animals, birds, etc. The rollout of 5G, zero carbons, poisoning the land and the waters with 1080 drops, legalised abortion, euthanasia, stuff out life on request. Doesn't sound very healthy to me. So, you can hardly ignore it. So, making smart cities reliable. Legislations. Well, to safeguard our health and well-being, what is being done? They are being ignored. There are serious issues that have already been proven by scientists that the rollout of 5G is associated with health risks. But what does Ardern do? She states the more machines to deal with cancer, the better. So she initiates a few cancer machines about the country to deal with those who are suffering cancer. But it doesn't cut the cloth for me. So, are we going to need more machines? That's what I'm thinking. So, and once that's done, perhaps the horse will be galloped. The gates open and the horse will gallop away. The rollout of 5G, it's already coming out there. I mean, I've already seen it. And you've got Vodafone advertising it, Spark advertising it. So electricity. On top of all this, we now find that a tsunami of data collection enabled by 5G could consume 1/5 of global electricity by 2025. Hey, I thought we were getting rid of electricity. Isn't that what they were talking about? Oh, I forgot, we're having electric cars, aren't we? What are we going to do with all those batteries? Are we going to have a special landfill for those? So we've got the smart cities, electric cars. Not very smart thinking, is it? Wind and solar power. It's not going to save our asses, I tell you that now. And then we've got green grabbing. Grabbing large-scale private pieces of land to use for forestation. And what's going to happen to those farmers? They're going to lose their livelihoods. You don't need farmers to manage forests. You need a machine. There is no room for farmers. There's no cattle anymore to look after. The rural communities are going to suffer. Businesses are going to shut down. Schools are going to shut down. It's going to affect our economy. Zero carbons bill is bloody ridiculous. It is going to send us on an economic slide downwards very fast. I keep on hearing about this green grabbing. Green grabbing is the green movement. buy up land and make it into forests and exclude local people. So it's grabbing land and resources in the name of biofuels, carbon offsetting schemes, conservation efforts and ecotourism. It's forcing people from their homelands and increasing poverty. That's what it's about, increasing poverty. And socialism is rewarded by more people who are poverty-stricken, who are relying on the state's welfare system, because this gives the government more power and control. They call the shots. China and the Middle East have been very busy investing in land and resources in low-income countries. So, land grabbing. So they grab larger areas of land and they start putting their footprint in that country. And where China comes communism, you've got people in the islands where the elders used to say what goes and what happens in the islands, control over the people. Now you've got the communists in control of the elders. Communists in control of the people. Excuse me, people. So there's some really bad examples of land grabbing, and there's no good examples that I can see of. So it's just about making rural communities and ecosystems negative, as far as I can see. And it's not about the livelihoods, encouraging the livelihoods. There's no positives in that for the rural community. They say what the Greens are promising, and this government is promising, emerging new enterprises. Land and labour are needed. They're being incorporated into the emerging new enterprises. Those farmers will have no negotiating power. They are being targeted by investors. They will be left to struggle. They will end up relying on the welfare state. It's all a very sad picture. So, there's zero carbons, sustainable development by the UN, agreements with the UN for this wonderful utopia. This wonderful utopia that has bills before Parliament, stuff out life on request, take farmers off their land, telling us what to eat and what not to eat. This is the wonderful utopia? I think not. Ardern's well-being? Hell not. Thank you, people.